Okay, we are live online, everybody. Please rise for this Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Julie, would you take roll call, please?
Steve Eisenbarth,
Present.
Robert Pope,
Present.
Aaron Teveball,
Present.
Don Loudon,
Present.
Greg Zuzen.
Okay, next is the consent agenda. We have the check register from November 4th and the minutes from the work session, memorandum, and minutes from October 21st. Any questions or discussion? If not, would someone make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda to include the check register for November and the minutes from the work session memoranda and minutes from the October 21 meeting. Second.
Thank you.
Don Loudon,
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Aaron Teveball,
4.
Steve Eisenbarth,
4.
All right, next is public comment. The public may comment on items on the agenda that are not part of a public hearing or on a specific matter within the council's jurisdiction. So if there's anyone that would like to come forward, please state your name and address. Okay, with no one coming forward, go ahead and close public comment and move on to department updates. Who wants to start us off tonight? Steve?
All right, he's all ready. Steve Moore, Public Works. Got a few things going on right now. The County 100 South reconstruction is progressing well. We've got pavement everywhere. We've got erosion control that's actually working much better now. I'm still on schedule for November opening for the first phase, if we'll call it that. The 100 North Raceway Road roundabout, the survey is complete. Utility coordination initial notices have been sent out. Actually got some responses back already. The red flag investigation is preliminary done. The preliminary design is underway. And then we also then submitted to the NDMPO a funding application under HSIP, CMAQ, and STBG. So hoping to get some funds back for that. 150 South and Avon High School, that traffic signal there, the new equipment's working well, except for one phase of it. And our sub-consultant's going to come back tomorrow, and it's programmed correctly, but it's not reading one of the programs. So there's just a little electronic switch we have to flip, and I think it hopefully will work out, but it's working pretty well. I was there actually with the Avon Schools Police today, and we manually ran it. And actually, I let him run it. I gave him a key to the police access box, and then I put a push button in there for them so that they can use it, so they don't have to stand out in traffic and switch it during unusual periods of traffic, like a football game or a band competition or something. So they don't have to get out in the middle of traffic. They can just switch it from the side of the street. Actually, I gave some of those to our police department too. So if they get out into a situation, they don't have to get out in traffic as often. The Avon High School entrance to 150 South, I'm gonna have to put new loops in there. We're getting a green light when there's no traffic, and we have a short in one of the loop wires, so we're just going to put in new loops. So get those cut in and get rid of that annoyance. White Lick Creek Trail Phase 5, we're still discussing the design. The Dan Jones widening Phases 1 and 2, we had a public meeting last night, and there was really no new information. It went well, and so then the environmental document should be submitted by early December, and we should begin land acquisition soon. Stormwater, we continue to field questions about drainage and make repairs. The stream bank protection project for White Lick Creek, we're working with the Corps still. hoping for environmental assessment by the end of December, and then also being able to get right-of-way acquired after we get a notice to proceed. We don't want to do it too soon or too late, buy too much too little, based on what the final design is. So we want to make sure we get that. For stormwater also, we'll do some in-house lunch and learns coming up. We have a new employee coming on board November 15th. That'll free me up a lot. And so as soon as he comes on board, then we'll start doing our lunch and learns to bring him up to speed, along with our planning and building department. They've been really good about helping us out, identifying things. And so just to give them more best management practices to look at, we'll do some lunch and learns. The 2021 MIP pretty much is done. We're preparing actually some projects for next year. We are probably going to add in some crack filling on some trails. Just met with the contractor today and hopefully get a price, and he thinks he can still get it done yet this season. Roadside mowing and trash pickup is going on as usual. Traffic calming, I've looked at a couple requests for traffic calming. I personally have not witnessed any of the items cited as reasons for traffic calming in those neighborhoods. I don't see the speeding. I don't see the disregard for pedestrians, anything. I mean, I've been out there at different times. I'm sure it probably happens, but it just hasn't happened when I've been there. So it's not happening with the frequency that would justify implementing a measure at this time. But I'm going to keep on looking at these same locations, and I'm asking for exact times, because I'm out there during the ranges they give me, but I haven't seen anything. So street sweeping, we're doing that right now. We've got notices up at the neighborhoods, our no parking site, and Jared has got me a QR code, so we're going out and slapping those on, and so now people can take a picture of that, and they'll get the updated schedule, because the contractor doesn't always make the progress he's going to make, or maybe makes more progress than he anticipated, and so we change the schedule accordingly. Every day at 3 o'clock we're getting updates, and then we're getting the information to Jared, and he's going to update the website so people can get updated information daily on where we're going to be sweeping. Let's see, pothole patching, it goes on as normal. I'm using a new product. It's a little more expensive, so we're just kind of trying it out. It's called Aquafault, and it's a product that actually does well in water. We use it in Florida on bridges especially, but it's very popular here. In fact, we had a hard time finding it because contractors have been buying it a lot. So it's more expensive. It's supposed to stay better, and it works well in water. So we don't have that problem with it delaminating. You know, when we get some decent weather, or if it freezes and it pops out, you know, it's supposed to actually work well in the frost. And sidewalk grinding is going to start here shortly. We're going to go through some neighborhoods, grinding panels that have dislodged and have a tripping hazard or an ADA violation. We're also doing some sidewalk replacements for areas that are not so bad that they can't be ground, or maybe they're just disintegrating, or in a couple cases we had some voids where it's caved in, and so we're going to remove the panels, and we've repaired the pipes, and then we're going to put some sidewalk back. I think that is it.
See, are those marked with orange paint when they're preparing to do those?
The sidewalks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought someone had asked me that.
Yeah, well, generally, I try to tell them to use the fluorescent pink paint, because orange is actually a communications color for underground marking. But yeah, sometimes they use orange instead of the fluorescent pink.
But either one, that's what.
Sometimes.
If residents see that, that's what they should expect.
If they don't see flags with it, yes. If they see flags with the orange paint, then it's, you know, it's been marked for communications.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Steve, would you address the fire hydrant in the middle of the sidewalk over at the O'Reilly property? Because I've received 2 calls on that.
It's stupid. Yeah, so I'm not sure how that if it was installed per plans. The plan surely didn't show, and I don't recall seeing a fire hydrant in the middle of the sidewalk. So it's going to have to be adjusted.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not in favor of moving the sidewalk around it. I think that they need to adjust the hydrant to the proper location and then re-pour the sidewalk panel.
thank you. I just wanted the public to know that it's being addressed.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Steve, I
Sure.
probably, just so I don't go long on my comments. Stormwater, were there any comments? I mean, I approved the invoices and I think everyone did online. Was there anything you heard on the stormwater?
Nothing adverse. I mean, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know of anything either.
Yeah.
Okay,
no,
that's
it
all.
should be
Thanks.
fine. Thanks.
Thank you. Kim, are you next?
Kim Freeman, Parks Department. It's going to be short and sweet. We've been really busy getting equipment ready for winter. All the employees are doing a variety of roles because we're so short-staffed. And I don't know if you saw our advertisement for the part-time position, but we've not had any responses to that. So we're having a hard time attracting employees. So we'll just keep on doing what we're doing. We're working with the Washington Township Park, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Avon Police Department on a new project that we plan on debuting in the fall. More information to come later as it develops. We're not ready to launch it just yet. We're having trouble, like everybody else, getting equipment delivered. We've got a backhoe that's been on order all summer, and now they tell us that it's due to parts and labor shortages. So we don't know when we're going to take delivery of that. And Gary, of course, has been wearing many hats like he always does in maintenance. And I don't know how many of you have seen his little video on the Facebook page, but it's pretty cool. You need to check it out. He's been busy building a wood beam for the Summerlot property. So, and other than park employees starting to use vacation time before the end of the year, because now we're trying to squeeze it in before the weather turns. So that's it.
Thank you.
Hey, Kim. Kim, I just have a quick question. Sorry, if you don't mind. For that part-time position, you said, is it nights, weekends? Is it something a teenager can do? Maybe we can help put that out there for you. Is it something,
They
what are you
have to
looking
have a
for?
valid driver's license. They
Okay.
have to be 18 to be able to operate the equipment.
Okay.
Yes,
Is it mostly weekends or?
it's weekends. Rudy is filling in on the weekends right now. He's just started doing the weekends permanently until we can find somebody to replace him. But yes, at this point, we'll work them in, train them, and then we'll fit them in where we can.
Okay. So is it something you think a teenager or you need more of an
Yes.
adult?
A responsible
an
teenager
18
could
and older.
handle it very easily.
Perfect. I was thinking of some seniors or freshmen in college or something. So sorry. I just wanted to ask that question, maybe put it out there for the public.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mike?
Good evening, Council. Mike Tully, Town of Avon, Building Commissioner, Planning and Building Director. I'm hoping that you got your copy of my October monthly report. Lots of things going on. We survived Costco, which was absolutely astounding. It was pretty impressive on how they pulled that rabbit out of their hat. But they were, Novak Construction out of Chicago did a phenomenal job getting stuff done. Just to let you know, we gave them a long laundry list 2 days before opening. And in 3 hours' time, they went from this is not going to happen to they're ready to open in 3 hours. So it was impressive to see how they pulled that off. But so hopefully you've had a chance to go by there and take a look at that. Also, good news is we are down to one school remodel left, which is White Oak Elementary. We finished up Sycamore and Hickory Elementary schools. Those are done. Of course, you know the Culvers is open. Smaller project, but it was quite a challenge. So, and Mathnasium in Westover Commons opened also. So if anybody wants to tutor kids in math, go down and see the guy. He'll take you. He was like, I like your math skills. I'll give you a job. And I said, I already have one. Thank you. So other than that, we have started with the Reagan Logistics Park footing inspections. They've got about 450 yards of concrete in the ground right now. More to come tomorrow, about another 120 yards tomorrow. So they're like, well, we're going to keep you busy. And I was like, that's what we do. It's okay. So I just wondered if you had any questions for me about monthly report or anything else. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for keeping that concrete going.
Keeping people in business. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mike. John?
Good evening, council.
Hello.
John Taylor, Economic Development Director, in case you didn't know. Yeah, Costco's open, and you should never, ever doubt a retail company getting open for Christmas sales. Never doubt them. I apologize that you didn't get your tour that I was promised. I did get a call this week and an apology that they were supposed to give the tour, but the store manager didn't do it. But in case you didn't hear, this was the second highest sales volume Costco on their first day in the company's history.
Wow.
So thank you, Avon, and thank you. I understand that our Madam Chairman spent a lot of money, so thank you.
I did. I contributed to that, yeah.
Ryan and I had a conversation the other day with DRG on their projects on Reagan. We're going to get their council and our council, bond councils together to start working on all of that. He did tell me that they would like to find more property to develop in Avon. So that's all good. Rise Development, they'll be coming in front of the council at some point to seek a tax abatement on the 12 buildings they're going to build. These will all be buildings of 7,000 to 10,000 square feet. So it's not one big building. I think we need to come to a decision at some point. Do we grant an abatement for their 15-acre parcel on all their buildings? Or if you want to have 12 individual tax abatements come before you, then we will make that arrangement. But if we talk to Dan and find out if we can do for the one parcel, then I think that'd be a little more easier on the client and the town. The READY grant, it was submitted to the Indiana Economic Development Corporation on December 3rd, which is a Friday. Our committee will be making a presentation. They're going to have presentations from all 17 submittals. So there are 17 different projects out there looking for $500 million. Our region was asking, I think, for 48.9 million. So we're asking for almost the max. Our part of that in Avon's about, I think it's $3.8 million. And we kind of put it towards going towards Easton Gray. I think this is a way, should you choose to build a new town hall with what the developer has promised to return us from the TIF money and from this READY grant, I think you can do a town hall for next to nothing. And I think that'd be wonderful if we're able to do that and that's what you choose to do. So that's all I've got for right now, unless you have some questions.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thanks.
John. Jared?
Good evening, Jared Wade, Communications Director. I am much taller than everybody else, somewhere in that range. A lot of different things in the works right now. 3 things that I want to talk about. One, on a social media and digital standpoint. Last week, we were just approved, and we are now able to stream live on LinkedIn as well as Twitter. So that means all the major social media sites we're now able to live stream. So everybody watching on here, they could be on Twitch, they could be on YouTube, they could be on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. So that's a huge feat for us to be able to do that. Also, we're going to be expanding the Live at Lunch series. I'm going to be reaching out to local businesses and nonprofits and bringing them in. The school came in and we talked a little bit about mental health and mental awareness for the kids. That got some really, really great reaction and feedback from the community. So we're going to be bringing in some other nonprofits and organizations that might just need a little bit of additional support to let people know, hey, we're here and we're in the community and these are services that we have. I thought that'd be a great opportunity for that. And then lastly, the third thing is about something that we're going to be starting up, not tonight, but soon. After any public meeting, so that's a BZA, a plan commission meeting, a council meeting, anything where it's a live or it's a public meeting, I'm going to be doing a follow-up live session with somebody that was at that meeting, whether it's a council member or it might be Ian or it might be Ryan, it could be somebody, but what it's going to be is it's going to be 3 questions. It's going to be the same 3 questions, and we're just going to answer those 3 questions. It's what was discussed, why was it discussed, and how is it going to affect the community? Not everybody can sit down and watch a 2 or a 4-hour long meeting, but it is important for them to know basically the Cliff Notes version of this is what happened, this is why it happened, and this is how it's going to affect you. This is just another step for us to try to be a bit more transparent, let everybody know here's what's going on in the community, here's what's happening, and everything in between. That's all that I've got, other than the 1.5 million that Costco brought in. Fun facts, all of that was just rotisserie chickens. So that's where all that money came from.
No, I spent over $1,000, so I helped. I know. Yeah.
Happy to answer any questions.
Any update timeline on the new website? Still scheduled was it end of January, end of February?
End of February, early March.
Okay.
That's a project that's still in the works. I had a design meeting with them yesterday, and it's going really, really well. It's looking good. It's still very early concept design right now, but it's going to be super nice, much easier to navigate. I met with Delbert from the Parks Department today, and we were talking about how their system is going to change just a little bit, and they're going to be moving to a new feature-rich system that's going to allow the community to reserve shelters and things of that nature significantly easier, and it's all going to be under one platform, so it's going to be easier for all intents and purposes for the entire community, which is really cool, really good stuff. Still, when we're hoping to launch the whole thing in March.
One other question. So for Costco, do we have maybe someone from the management team that staff or we're in touch with that we could keep in touch and find out, what their needs are and get them integrated into the community?
I see no reason why we couldn't reach out and ask them. I would probably wait just a little bit, especially with, their big season happening right now. But maybe at the end of the year, going into January, it makes a lot more sense to reach out to them then, once they've had a chance to settle in. And then we come back and say, hey,
come and join this board, right?
Yeah, come join a board. Yeah, things like that.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.
Sean?
Good evening. Sean Stoops, Chief of Police with the Avon Police Department. Sergeant Nate Hawk will be graduating from the IMPD Leadership Academy tomorrow. We've talked about that before. It's a 4-week program. It's very challenging and very demanding, and it's not actually for everyone. So we congratulate him on being able to accomplish that and complete that program. Officer Tanner Brennan is progressing through his training at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. I think he's expected to graduate, in December. The Avon Police Department Merit Board met on Monday and certified our most recent hiring list. One of the unfortunate things of that, I guess you could say, is the list only contained 14 valid candidates. So immediately following the certification of the list, our background investigators were able to start background investigations and start to try to find qualified candidates to fulfill our vacancies. They did complete 3 background investigations that were successful. So 3 conditional offers of employment were tendered on Monday. 2 people from that list of 14 were removed for cause, and 2 withdrew. So now we're already down to 7 to try to find our remaining 2 candidates for our 2 vacancies. The background investigators not only have been working their normal case load, but they've also been conducting the lengthy background investigations that it takes to identify good candidates. We picked up our final 2 police vehicles from Fort Wayne today. Yay, that is correct, yeah. So now we are current on all of our orders being fulfilled for our new police fleet vehicles. So we're pretty excited to get those outfitted and get those into service as soon as possible. We had a canine fundraiser just a couple of weeks ago, and it raised about $3,000, and those funds will be presented to the Public Safety Foundation and earmarked for the canine program for whatever the needs might be for that. The Indiana Crime Guns Task Force and an Detective Tajay Hyde that's involved in that and assigned to that unit. They've been doing a very, very good job. They've been very busy, not just in Hendricks County, but in central Indiana as a whole. To date, they've seized over 250 firearms. They've made about 200 arrests that are at the state level. They're partners with the ATF. They've all arrested about 30 individuals at the federal level and collected and seized numerous guns, cash, as well as narcotics. So we applaud him and that team for all their efforts and help reducing the crime, not just in Indianapolis, but in central Indiana and all the donut counties as well. Just on our building, I keep saying it, we're really close to being finished with that building addition, but we're still waiting on the 2 service doors to be delivered and be installed. I think we did get the gutters installed this week, as well as the asphalt patch that needed to be done as well. And there's a couple other minor items before Mr. Tully can give us the occupancy certificate, and we'll be ready to move in and start using that facility. Happy to answer any questions.
I spoke with an officer from a surrounding department, and he had nothing but praise for Tajay and the work that he's doing and how he's assisting the other departments in the area as well.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Right now, he's the only county liaison for Hendricks County. So anytime there's a crime with a firearm, he's the guy that's going to come out and help process that and take care of it and follow up on charges. So.
Great.
Yeah.
And then Sean, also, Greg Sturwald came to me and said he really appreciate your department and what you've been doing to work on the crime force. He said there's some tremendous bad actors that have been taken off the streets. That's just great when he comes up and says that. I thought, I can't take credit for it. I said, I thank you. I'll pass that on. So do appreciate it. So all the hard work. The other thing is similar. I have some traffic officers I interact with regularly in downtown. And one gentleman said, well, in Hendricks County, you guys have it much easier than we have in Marion County because you have a prosecutor that'll do something. And so that was really, and he went on, which I won't, but very interesting. So
That's not a question for me, right?
Oh, no, just you're doing a great job and we're netting some good results. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that takes care of all of the department heads and their updates. So we'll move on to council comments and liaisons. Aaron?
Just a quick thank you to our Plan Commission, Planning and Building Department, all the staff that's worked on this UDO. Good meeting tonight, and we made a lot of progress in the last 2 years on that. So a lot of tough work, and I'm sure a lot of late nights put in that. So I appreciate all their help and excited to see our next round and what the final outcome looks like.
Just a brief, we had a Parks Board meeting, it's Tuesday this week, discussed the next year's schedule of events that Kim gave an update on. Really excited for that fall one. And I don't think Aaron, Steve, or Greg, you guys have had the opportunity to go out to Summerlot. I Dawn and I have, I can't suggest that enough. Please take the opportunity. It's an amazing property.
Beautiful.
We've got a gym coming out there. That's it. Thank
Not a gym, not a GYM.
you. A gym.
Let's not confuse people.
Fair enough.
Steve?
Oh, just a fun thing, I'm always talking the recycling district. So they had a Halloween swap costume event, and it's just kind of fun to see different ways that they do recycling. So that was just a kind of a fun little thing I thought I'd point out. But other than that, I think staff covered a lot of the things I was thinking about. So that's all I have.
I'll just say that Ryan, Julie, Dave Margison, Robert, myself, and Jared all attended the Avon Education Foundation annual breakfast yesterday morning. That was a nice event. I had not attended that in the past. It was well attended, and a lot of good information was given. And I guess, should we give an update on, Robert, do you feel we should give an update on the annexation committee and where you guys stand on that?
Sure. Yeah, we met, was it last week? Yeah, it was last week to hash out a signing of a letter. We've got essentially buy-in from every taxing entity except the library. And I'm using that word a little vaguely, except I think we've got a plan in place to address that. I think we're going to get the library support, which I'm sure you guys are all aware. That's kind of a big deal to have every last taxing entity sign a letter saying, yeah, you guys, this really is for the betterment of the community. This really is what's going to lead to one strong community. So making some progress. And I think we're planning to, I think that meeting's next week that we're going to address that. We're planning to get letters out, I think at the latest by the first week of December. So we should be seeing some movement on the West End annexation shortly.
Great. Thank you. Right, no old business, so we'll move right into the new business. So the first thing on the agenda is the letter of intent for Avon Landing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll walk you guys through this. Just a little background. I think all of you, especially the Avon Landing one, you have all seen previously. As you are all aware, we had some changes with the developer on the Avon Landing project. So the previous agreement we signed was specific to that developer. So now that there's another developer on the project, we've basically gone through. The terms haven't changed. Some of the dollar amounts have changed. Some of the names have changed. But other than that, it's basically the same agreement that the town council previously did. Or sorry, this is a letter of intent. So while this is kind of the beginning of the process, we're actually also pretty well into it. I do want to give some credit to our bond counsel, John, and Financial Solutions Group. We kind of hammer through all these terms with the developers and on what's okay. Dan and Mitchell as well have been part of those discussions and negotiations as well. So it's taken a lot of effort to get to this point. It does also then go to the Redevelopment Commission as well. And so it's been adopted by the Redevelopment Commission. And so it's here before you. The next step, if the town council agrees to the letter of intent, is then it will actually be put into an agreement form and it'll come back as well. The letter of intent is non-binding. So that's why we kind of get to this agreement. But this is essentially the business terms. And then that kind of allows us to move on and do the legal terms and make sure everything works out on that. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I think you guys are all familiar with the project. If you want me to do a description of the project, I'm happy to do that. But
Just a brief question about the timeline. Timeline hasn't changed. We're still on track. It looks like phase one bonds issues next year.
correct. Yes, I think if we could go faster, they were hoping to actually start this fall, but they hadn't really gotten us some of the information we needed. So where we're at now, we would do bond sale probably first part of next year, and they want to get construction going as early as they can next year.
Any comments or further discussion? If not, would someone make a motion?
Dan, since it's a letter of intent, how's that motion? Just approve this letter of intent for Avon Landing.
Exactly.
Roger that. I make a motion, we approve the letter of intent for the Avon Landing.
Julie's not here. Ryan, would you take roll call?
as possible. I can figure out your system.
Microphone.
You can just go in order.
Okay. Robert Pope,
4.
Greg Susan is absent. Aaron Peterwell,
Four.
Don Loudon,
4.
Steve Eisenberg.
4.
Thank you.
You guys help me out. Who made the motion?
Robert did and Aaron second.
Aaron, second.
Thank you.
Or I
Oh, Steve
second, yeah,
seconded.
yeah.
Okay.
Forgive me. Thanks.
I thought it was Aaron.
I totally messed it
I
up.
think you got a recording somewhere.
Is actually red, so he didn't record it at all.
All right, next is the letter of intent for Avon Logistics.
So this one is a little bit, I know you guys are very familiar with the Avon Logistics project, but this is the first time you've seen a letter of intent from them. Again, kudos to John and our economic development team for working with the developers on this. This one is a little bit different, kind of as we've learned through the process. We have, this one we've negotiated some different terms. Chicago Industrial had some different things that they desired as well compared to what the Avon Landing developer wanted. So some of the terms are slightly different. I think it's actually, quite frankly, it's even better in the interest of the town. It's a larger project, but it's also more advantageous to us in terms of cost for the developer purchase bond. I may just real briefly cover what a developer purchase bond is. This is basically the town's providing financial support to put the infrastructure in place in order to support the development. So we're using TIF dollars to basically support the development from the project. And the developers are purchasing that bond, so the town's not at risk of losing any of the money. If the development doesn't occur, the developer would lose the money. So a developer purchase bond is a fantastic protection for the town. We're not risking any taxpayer dollars on it. And so this is in the benefit of our residents, as well as to the benefit of us being able to get economic development in our community. So happy to answer any questions on the letter of intent for Avon Logistics. This Avon Logistics is the project on the north side of County Road 100 South. Happy to answer any questions.
I see the timeline says same thing for next year. Will we be trying to purchase those at the same time as Avon Landing?
We would do them about the same time. Yep.
Okay.
So the bond amount, the 5.3, pardon me, what all would that cover? I mean, does that give, I'm not familiar with sometimes how much is covered through that bond.
Yeah, most of, on Avon Logistics, most of their cost is for the road construction. If you recall, there's kind of a loop road in there. So most of it's that, some of it's for some water, some of it's for some sewer.
Okay, utilities, you got some?
It's some utilities.
Okay.
Mostly just those. Avon Landing did have some additional things in it. Avon Logistics didn't have as much. It's more of just the roads, a little bit of water, a little bit of sewer.
Okay, I knew it'd be the road, but I'm glad to hear the additional. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Will that be a private road then or a public road?
The piece there's going to be some of both, but the piece that we're proposing to pay for would be public road.
Okay.
We're not paying for any private streets.
Any further discussion or does someone want to make a motion?
I'll move we approve the letter of intent for Avon Logistics as presented.
I'll second.
Aaron Teveba,
Four.
Robert Pope,
4.
Don Loudon,
4.
Steve Eisenbarth.
4. It's good.
Next is an ordinance introduction, 2021-28, additional appropriations.
Yeah, just real briefly, this is at the end of every year, we kind of review the budget, and sometimes the council approves things that we didn't have budgeted, which is the case for most of this. And that's why I kind of attached, there's a spreadsheet attached that has CARES Act funding. There are actually 2 things the council approved this year for us to purchase and use the CARES Act fund. Just as a reminder, the town received $595,000 in CARES Act funding last year as part of the stimulus program. And so I kind of listed out what we spent some of that money last year, but the 2 projects we did this year were in-car cameras and body cameras for the police department for about $121,000. And then we also decided to use some of that money for the website update, which Jared talked about earlier, which was $35,000. So in order for us to spend that, we have to add that to the budget, which is what an additional appropriation is. So you'll notice
I did add a couple of other things in there. This was kind of discussion with Julie and I to talk about it. The other thing we don't want to do at the end of the year, if the budget's tight, Calvin's got to move that money around and make sure it balances. Right now, we're 75% of the way through the year, and we're at 74.16% of our budget, which is good. That means we're right on track for what we should be. But that also means if anything goes wrong at the end of the year, it could end up making us tight. So I put a little bit of extra money in there. I put in $100,000 into personnel services, which would probably be for like police overtime. Right now, the police overtime's running close to what they expected. So that, again, just gives us some flexibility if at the holidays, if the police have some additional overtime. And then the other 50,000, we're going to get our insurance renewal. And if you guys recall, last year, we kind of paid that in advance. And so we're getting our insurance renewal this year, which we'll pay out of this year's budget. So we're expecting a little bit of increase there. So I put in about 50,000 from there as well. That additional 150,000 is really just to give us some flexibility, make sure we don't run into a problem that Julie has to answer to the State Board of Accounts later if we expend more than what was appropriated. That money would just come out of our fund balance. That wouldn't come from the CARES Act. And if we don't spend it, it just goes right back into the fund balance. So it's really just there to make Julie and Calvin's job easier at the end of the year. Happy to answer any questions.
Looks like the balance remaining is nice. And so, yeah, no questions.
Got one, maybe for the residents at home. What happens if we don't approve this additional appropriation?
Julie goes to jail.
No,
No, I'm just kidding. Well, we're not allowed to exceed our appropriation, so the town would have to cut our expenses to make sure that we don't exceed that appropriation. If we exceeded the appropriation, then Julie would get an audit point when they did the audit. The DLGF would say you exceeded that authority, which would then get reported to the council, and they would basically slap us on the hand and say, don't do that anymore.
Thank you.
It's common to do additional appropriation. I don't have any problems. Yeah,
So there were, on the actual ordinance, you've listed the personal services at 100,000, professional services at 85, and then the capital outlay for the body cams at 121. On the back worksheet, those numbers are different, so they don't have to be specifically on the ordinance, or is this an addendum to the ordinance?
No, the spreadsheet is really just the tracking of the CARES Act funding.
Okay.
So the professional services is $35,000 for the website,
Right.
plus the 50,000 for insurance. And then I just rounded up for the in-car body cameras. The capital outlays is the in-car cameras and body cameras.
Okay.
And then the 100,000 for personnel services is for overtime or any personnel issues that we have.
Okay.
So but no, you don't have to have the specifics in the ordinance.
Okay. Thank you.
I can make a motion.
Well, and I might
Question?
say, and remember,
Sorry.
just remember, appropriation doesn't mean you have to spend the money. It just is the authorization to spend the money. You have to have the cash as well. And I think you have good cash, but part of this, as Ryan explained, is designed to give you room to move if unexpected things happen.
Mhm.
And if those things don't happen, then some of these appropriations probably will not be used. Okay, so remember, when you approve appropriations, you're approving budgetary authority to spend money. Doesn't mean the money will be spent. And so obviously the CARES Act, you want to spend that because you're supposed to, but the other part of it would be kind of if you need it sort of money.
Thank you, Dan.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
If there's no more discussion, we'll consider ordinance 2021-28 introduced. Dan, you're up for legal counsel report.
Nothing tonight. Thank you. Watch your email, though. There were some, there's an important federal temporary regulation that was published today that I'll need to review and let you know what that's about
Okay, thank you.
regarding the federal mandate.
Okay, we're going to open it for public comment. If there's anyone that would like to come forward at this time and speak, you're welcome to come forward. Please state your name and your address. No one coming forward again, so we'll close public comment and move on to council comments. Steve, you want to start us off?
Oh, nothing more.
Again, great job to our departments. Thank you. All of our employees. Thank you very much.
Maybe one comment. I appreciate I appreciate, Sean, your department on using discretionary wisdom when there's risky things going on in the town. I'll leave it at that. So thank you.
Okay, we have council calendar coming up next.
Yeah, your next meeting is November 18th at 7 PM.
Okay, can you mark that I will not be in attendance, just to make sure that there's a quorum? My son's getting a rank promotion in the
cool.
military, so I'll be there.
Which one is it? December.
November 18th.
The next one,
Yeah, if you guys can't make it, please, it is going to be a bit of a heavier agenda than tonight. Plus, Julie just put the public hearing for the additional appropriation is that meeting as well. So if for some reason we won't have a quorum, please let me know.
Okay,
Thank you.
and Robert, you'll be available, right?
Yep.
Okay, you'll be, okay. Thank you. With that, we'll be adjourned.